Hey guys, what's up? Hope you guys are doing well. We're going to be going over the weekly recap of the Dungeons plugin, taking a look at what's been added, what is different, and basically just going through most of the new stuff that you guys don't know how to use yet, or just helping you guys out using them. So let's go over lives, checkpoints, and our brand new MythicMobs integration, as well as raid rewards. Alright, so we're here in our little mission here that I have created that you see in most of the Dungeon Showcase videos and stuff. This one's a pretty reliable one because it's got basically every component of this plugin built into it, so I like to test out most of the stuff here. Also wanted to thank you guys for all the support. For those of you who have purchased the plugin, I really do appreciate it. Hope you guys are enjoying it, and I'm making really cool dungeons with it, and if you guys have any suggestions, be sure to recommend it at the Discord. Alright, as you can see, we do have a new lives placeholder on our scoreboard here. You can go ahead and access that with %dungeons_mission lives. It's on the wiki. You can go ahead and look at all the placeholders there. I've added a couple more this week. So you can go ahead and access that as well as the mission name. But let's take a look at our main addition first, which was MythicMobs. Now, if we go over to /dungeons, and then we're going to go over to hives first. It works with every spawner. So if we go over to our first here, this is my first hive here, and we go over to mob type, this is where you can configure if it's a mythic mob or not. So it's going to be up here. It's a new icon, and right now I have it configured as something. Let's go ahead and delete that real quick. There we go. So it is not set. You're gonna have it not set when you first open this menu. What you can do once you have the MythicMobs plugin installed, I'm assuming you know how to use and how to create MythicMobs. I'm just gonna use the ones that come with the plugin. What you have to do is go ahead and left click, and now it's gonna ask you for a mythic mob name, the name of the mythic mob that you've configured. So let's go ahead and put Skeletal Knight. I know this is one of the basic ones, and look at that. Now it's been successfully changed. We can go back to our hives, and let's go back to our mob type, and as you can see, it lists the Skeletal Knight along with a score. Now we can edit it by middle clicking, and we can go ahead and adjust the score accordingly. Once you have configured your score for the mythic mob, you can go ahead and return the rewards, and as you can see, everything's saved and it's all good to go. So it doesn't matter if you have a custom mob selected for this. As you can see, it still says custom mob 1 and current zombie. As long as a mythic mob is configured onto this hive, mythic mobs take way more priority than everything else. So it's first gonna try to spawn a mythic mob, and if it can't, then it's gonna spawn the rest. So you don't have to worry. Just make sure you go ahead and type in the name of the mythic mob and configure the score, and you're good to go. This is the same thing for hordes. If we go over to /dungeons hordes, we take a look at our hordes mob type. Same thing, same deal. You can go ahead and enter the name of the mythic mob by left clicking, typing it in, and editing the score if you want. Alright, you can remove it by right clicking. Pretty self-explanatory. There's a little bit of a difference here for bosses. If we go over to /dungeons bosses and we go ahead and edit it, as you can see, our mythic mob has been set. It's going to be at the bottom right, and it's going to be a mythic mob, and I've set it right now to Skeletal Knight, score 600. Be sure, if you do have for your mission, if it is your final boss, let's go over to /missions edit 1.1, and let's go over to end state. Now, if your end state is a boss, make sure that that name there is the same name as your mythic mob. So if we go over to /bosses, or not /bosses, /dungeons bosses, I don't even know my own plugin. Okay, so if we go over here, as you can see, this is a Skeletal Knight, and the real name for this you've configured already, which is a Skeletal Knight, is different from Doombringer. Now this is the actual name. If we go back to the list, this is the name of the actual boss that the end state will detect. So what we need to do is go ahead, if we want this to be the final boss, we want to go ahead and change this name to reflect the exact display name of this guy, not Skeletal Knight without any color codes or anything, but the exact display name. So the one that shows up above the Skeletal Knight's head, you want to go ahead and enter that as the name of your boss here. You only need to do this if the boss is the boss that's the final one before the player gets teleported out. Otherwise, you don't need to worry about it. But yeah, MythicMobs now works perfectly fine with bosses and all the spawners, so you can go ahead and use that to your heart's content. A couple more changes with missions. We can go over to /missions edit 1.1, which is this mission right here. We do have new icons here for this week. We have rewards. This is basically, you can give players rewards based on their score at the end of their mission. So basically, if they have, like, let's say 70 points at the end of the mission raid, they're above the minimum score, and they have a 40% chance of getting this golden pickaxe once they teleport back to the spawn. Same thing with this, except they didn't get enough, their score is lower than the minimum score here, so they won't be eligible to have the chance to get this fishing rod. And same thing here, what the plugin does is it goes through each item, and if the player has that minimum score, it's going to generate a random number and determine with the chance that you've configured if the player should receive the item or not. So he or she can receive multiple items depending on how the dice rolls, basically. Mission rewards also supports commands, so you can go ahead and configure this. It's a bit different than what you'd expect, so I give you a little bit of an example of the format. But what you need to do is type in the exact command, replacing the player name with bracket player bracket, but then you're going to type in a colon as well as the minimum score they need to go ahead and run that command for them. So in this case, that game mode survival player, they have to have had 100 points at the end of the mission to run that command for them. So this is useful for giving money and stuff to players. So basically what these are, there's rewards and command rewards. These rewards are for players that stick around after they've lost all their lives and are spectating other players, and they finish and they're still around when the mission ends. So what you want to do is just shift click your items in, save and exit, and they should appear right there. Just fine. No issues there. So just shift click them in, save and exit, and they'll be given to the player once the mission ends and they're still spectating, and they teleport back to the hub and they'll get these rewards. Same thing with commands, they'll get this as well. Alright, that sums up basically all of the mission changes that we've made this week. Lives. Let's go ahead, actually, I almost forgot. Let's go ahead and make this time set 0. I did forget one crucial thing, which was checkpoints that I've added this week as well. If we go over and let's go ahead and get our missions tool. This is going to be used to go ahead and mark out the region you want the player to cross to receive that checkpoint, essentially. Checkpoints delete after every mission raid, so you don't need to worry about anything. It's all automated, all in the back end by me, so you are good to go once you set your checkpoints. So we do have a checkpoint right here I've configured. If we go over to /missions structures, and then the mission number and dungeon number. I do have a lot of mission structures here, as you can see. We got a lot operating here, but if we go over to checkpoint, we can go ahead and see that we have our second checkpoint here. Let's teleport to this guy. This checkpoint is actually right here. So I marked it out to be, let's see here. I think I did this block to that block. So anytime they cross here, that means they get the checkpoint. Now, you're probably wondering, where do they spawn? Since we're just marking out a region here, where do they spawn necessarily? We're not marking out a spawn point. What I did with the code, I went ahead and made it so that they spawn in the exact middle of that region, like X, Y, and Z. So keep that in mind when you're configuring your checkpoints. Everything, the spawn point is basically going to be in the exact middle of that checkpoint. So that's that logic. Similarly to effect pads, all we need to do is go ahead and mark out a region and go ahead and create our checkpoint. So let's go ahead and make one right over here. Let's mark out a little region here. We want them to cross here, so let's go ahead and mark this guy as our first spot. And let's go ahead and mark out this guy as our second spot. So they're basically, anytime they cross here, they'll get the checkpoint. So let's go ahead and do /missions. Create, and then checkpoint. All right, perfect. Now we can go ahead and type a numerical ID for the checkpoint. So this basically means, hey, what is the priority of this checkpoint? Do you want this, the higher the priority is, the more basically strength it has in terms of if they've crossed multiple checkpoints, which one are they going to teleport to? They're going to teleport to the highest number one. So let's go ahead and type in 3. This will be the ID of this one. And let's go over to /mission structures 1.1. And as you can see, our checkpoint is here along with our others. Pretty cool. So let's go ahead and start this mission off, and I'll show you that the checkpoints are actually working. And if you guys are having any problems with the plugin, as always, go ahead and contact me on Discord, and I'll be happy to assist you on all your issues that are going on. So let's go ahead and start this mission off here. We get our speed from our effect pad, and let's continue on forward. We got our loot chest here, we got some Frostwalker action going on, a bridge, interesting. Our first checkpoint is right here, like I said, it has been set. We do have our custom mythic mob here, skeletal knights being spawned in. Those guys are tough as hell. Let's see here, blaze rods, string. Let's jump down into this little crevice here. Let's destroy that spawner. Checkpoint 2 has been set, which is the one I told you about right here. So now when I die, let's go ahead and /kill ourselves. Unfortunately, we can go ahead and respawn back. Our lives does go down though, because we have lives enabled. Let's go ahead. We do have our mythic mob custom boss here. Very cool indeed. I like that. I like that a lot. Mythic mobs is really cool as a plugin. Let's go ahead and float our way down here. And we should get our checkpoint set here, right there. Perfect. So now if we die, we'll lose a life obviously, but we'll spawn right back here. Alright, well that's the end of the weekly recap for this week. Hope you guys did enjoy it and were educated on all the changes that have been made this week. If you guys have any suggestions, be sure to drop it in the Discord, and I'll see you guys in the next recap. Thank you guys for supporting me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.